Hey guys, just want to share with you guys my winter boredom project. So got a fish tank for the kids, just a bunch of guppies. We decided to add some Cory catfish, and then about 3 months into this winter, started noticing some eggs. So I just went, what the heck? Let's try to hatch these guys. So I picked up a 10-gallon, pulled them out, just try to breed them. I have 6 in here. I know I have 2 females, 2 males, and then I have 2 that might be a little bit too young for me to figure out what they are. And right now they're all just hiding in the PVC tube. So within this 10-gallon, I just have a hang on back heater. It's going about 76, 78 degrees, so it's just, nothing special. Also in here too, I want to show you, I have one little dude in here from my first accidental hatch. Before I knew what I was doing, a lot of my eggs failed. And then this guy, again, just by the graces of Mother Nature, he hatched on his own inside this tank because I dropped eggs as I was collecting them. Initially, I was using a card or a scraper to peel them. And then finally here, I'm just using my fingers. I found that my fingers works best. But yeah, he somehow made it through the stages of avoiding being eaten. And now he's of size of not being eaten. So he's just hanging out on the outside. I want to say he's probably about 6 to 7 weeks old. So he's just hanging out in there along with the parents. So for me, I've noticed that water changes don't really trigger my Corys, my peppered Corys. I've noticed more that it's food. So I feed them every morning, just a rotation of frozen bloodworms, and then through the rest of the day I'll put pellets or algae wafers or shrimp pellets in there to get them going. But I've noticed that if I want them to breed and to spawn eggs, the frozen bloodworm seems to do the best job at triggering them to breed. My 2 females seem to breed about every 4 to 6 days between the 2. They'll rotate. So I do get quite a lot of eggs just between the 2 of them. They do also lay on the glass across from the flow of the hang-on back filter. So it's pretty easy for me to collect eggs. I just have to beat the adults before they snack on them. If I'm able to collect them, what I do is I move them over to this tub I found that fits just inside my 10-gallon, and it fits just perfect in there. And I put them in there. My logic is it's regulated internally by the water of the 10 gallons, so I don't have to do anything special. Nothing like putting them in a separate container outside or a jar outside and having to watch that room temperature, making sure the water is warm enough. So I collect them. If they're still sticky, I'll stick them to the side. If they happen to fall, they fall. No big deal. Just have to try my best to space them apart. I've also experimented with using methylene blue or not using methylene blue. This rotation right here, I don't have any in there. And these eggs are about 2 days old and no signs of fungus yet. But again, I've also done it with methylene blue, and I do very light. So again, I don't know how much effect it's doing. And also with my light dosage, I'm also pulling, when I'm using methylene blue, probably about 15 to 20% of water out daily, just to minimize the effects of methylene blue by the time the eggs hatch. And for me, my eggs have been hatching about 5.5 days in. So by the time the day 5 or so, there's just very minimal methylene blue if I'm pulling 15-20% out daily. Also for me too, I've noticed that it takes about 3 days for me to notice if they're fertile or infertile. And they'll either start developing brown spots or they'll go very, very white. And that's how I can tell again if it's fertile or infertile. These guys are, again, probably about day 2, so probably about tomorrow morning I should start noticing which ones are fertile and not fertile. After they hatch on day 5, day 5.5, I leave them in there for about 2 days to kind of eat off their yolk. And then right when I notice that it's about time for them to try eating, I'll pull them out just so I don't soil that container with the other eggs I'm collecting. So I'll pull them out, and then I've been using this Fluval hang-on breeder box, which is great because it has an uplift tube, which helps with keeping just fresh water in as long as my 10-gallon mother tank is fresh. I also have a coarse sponge on the overflow drip just to prevent babies from swimming and going through. I also do siphon the leftover food over daily just to prevent buildup and whatever else that may happen. So these guys, if you'll notice, I just pulled these guys out. They are about 3 days post hatch. And what I start with right off the bat is just these Hikari first bites. I'll feed these for about a week and a half, and then I'll transition over to frozen baby brine shrimp for about a week and a half. At that point, they're about 3.5, 4 weeks old. Then they're big enough, and then I usually, because again I have rotations of them just constantly laying eggs, I'll rotate from the egg tub to my baby grow out tub to my what I'm calling my juvenile grow up tub, which is just a plastic tote. I just have some broken pottery in there for some hideout spots, and I just pulled over some Java moss, and then I just have a small sponge filter heater. And then in here they'll just hang out. In here at that 3.5, 4 week month mark, sorry, 4 week to a month mark, I'm still crushing the food. So I'm adding in now whatever I'm feeding the parents. I'll just crush it so it dissolves a little bit more, so it's easier for them to eat. And then at about the 6 week mark, I just start just feeding them solids. I'll break it to smaller chunks, but I'm no longer crushing it to small powder form to be able to feed them. I want them to be able to start learning how to eat pellets, eat the harder foods. So then at about the 2 to 2.5 month mark is when I'll feel comfortable rehoming them. They still won't be the size you'll find in like the pet stores, but at the 2.5 month mark, I know that if the new owners are able to take care of them, at least those little guys are able to feed for themselves, to be able to find food from pellets, and they'll survive and continue to grow out. So that's my story with these guys. So again, just an accidental project that turned into a little side hobby this winter. So share with me any thoughts, any tips you guys have, anything I could do to improve better. Let me know what you guys are going through. Again, just something that kept me busy this winter, and something that again just accidentally happened. All right, thanks guys.